Hi everyone, I hope all is well. I hope you enjoyed both movies, American Made and It. This is just to give you a bit more context in regards to your question for It, and really understanding again that when we're looking at popular culture, and I cannot stress this enough, when we're looking at popular culture, when we're looking at the modes of mass communication, when we're looking at the realities of popular genre, say like horror, we really want to always keep in mind that it rises out of the political. And I do hope that you listen to the conversation with Barry Keith Grant, because he reinforces this. He makes note that the horror genre is about our anxieties. He makes reference to particular films like Get Out, which rises out of the racial tensions in the United States. He makes reference to Drag Me From Hell, a film that came out about 10 years ago that rose out of the economic hardships of 2008 when the housing market collapsed and the banking sector collapsed in the United States and pretty much across the world. So when we're watching it and we're looking at this question of Pennywise's connection to the students, or rather to the characters, to the young characters, we want to keep in mind that yes, Pennywise is the manifestation, if you will, of the monster. He is the monster in the film. He is, the predator, if you will. But as a character, what does Pennywise rise out of? What is he really as a monster? And importantly, how does that connect to our characters? So many of you have watched Get Out with me, for example. We know that in Get Out, that white, educated, wealthy, suburban family is very much the monsters in the film. And they are very much an embodiment of the colonial history of racism in America. And this white family, a mother, a therapist who's well educated, a doctor, a father who's a neurosurgeon, again well educated, they use their expertise and their education to literally colonize the black body. They are taking the black body and leveraging it for their use, very much enslaving the black body. So they're the monsters, and they represent something socially and politically. So that's what I mean when we're looking at Pennywise. What does Pennywise have in connection to the characters? So who is Pennywise? And that's what this question is really about. What does he embody? So just to give you a little bit of a hint, let's look at the opening scene. Now, excuse this kind of pirated version, if you will. I downloaded it from the web, so just ignore the subtitles. But let's break this down, okay? Let's break this down visually and thematically. One, the film starts off in a suburban neighborhood, and it's actually shot not too far from Chaminade, this opening scene. So here we are in this quaint neighborhood, a neighborhood that we have connection to because it's literally in our neighborhood, in our backyard, and it's quiet, and it's very much a part of the everyday of the American dream, if you will. This is the neighborhood that when we think of the American family, this is what we're thinking of. But when we're introduced to this neighborhood, it's not sunny. Kids are not playing outside. Parents aren't cutting the lawn and trimming the trees in the bushes. It's raining, and it's dark, and it's cold, and it's gloomy, and it's isolated. It's not like the big city where people may still be walking downtown with umbrellas. Nobody is out. We are then brought into the bedroom where the two brothers sit alone in what seems to be a very kind of cold living space. We know that one brother is sick with a cold, and little Georgie is, wanting to be entertained. As they plan, this little making of the boat, Georgie goes downstairs, and Georgie really at that moment faces what probably many of us have faced when we were kids, which is kind of the looming basement or the corridors of our apartment buildings, areas of our living space that make us feel uncomfortable. And when Georgie goes down those stairs, he's entering this place of the unknown. What's lurking in this basement? What's lurking in what is supposed to be this safe home? And that's a fear. And needless to say, he conquers that fear. He goes upstairs. They make the boat. And then they sneak outside, or Georgie sneaks outside. And that scene of the mother at the piano is significant because the mother hasn't checked on the boys. The mother hasn't asked the boy who's sick if he needs a cup of soup or a tea or a hot chocolate or whatever the case may be. She's very much in her own kind of space. There she is playing the piano. And Georgie's able to sneak out without any noise, sneak out without any parental concern. And as a parent myself, I would know if my kids are opening up the door. Then he goes outside and he begins to play innocently by himself. And he has the conversation with Pennywise. And then importantly, a neighbor opens up her door. She comes out and she passively looks at Georgie, not knowing it's a little kid, but obviously it looks like a little kid in the rain jacket, looks at him, and then she just ignores it and she turns around. So this is to say, here we are in our American suburban backyard. Here we are on a street where neighbors are supposed to share cups of sugar and eggs if they need to, or milk, where we know our neighbors, where the ideal family is to live. And the adults seem pretty disconnected, don't they? They're not really present at all. And think about the role of adults in this film. What role do the adults actually play? And that's important. And that's so important. So, who is Pennywise? And what is his connection to the characters? That's what you have to determine. Take into account what Barry Keith Grant has said. Take into account the reading. And the reading is important because I know it's lengthy, but basically what it's saying is Stephen King's an author who very much takes what we perceive to be everyday beautiful America, small town America, and he rips it to shreds. Whether it's Pet Sematary, whether it's The Mist, whether it's Misery, some of these great pieces of literature that Stephen King has created and that have been adapted into movies. The beautiful America that we see is not necessarily what exists, and that's Stephen King really much at the core. So who is and what is Pennywise, and what is the connection to these characters? Again, just try it out. I know, especially for the students in grade 10 and 11, it might be a little bit more of a challenging read, but I think it provides a very good window into answering this question. And when you leave the theater, it's not whether or not it's a good movie, it's what's this film actually saying, and perhaps what is this film actually saying through the character of Pennywise himself. Thank you.